It looks like Google are up to their old tricks. This time they're going after your featured snippets. Stick around and watch the video and I will give you my top tip for optimizing your posts for snippets so you can win them every time. Hello YouTube, and a very special hello to all my subscribers. My name's Phil and welcome to my channel. This is the place where I document my journey while I'm trying to build an online income. If that's something that you're interested in doing yourself, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also leave me a comment with any questions you might have. Okay, so today we're talking about featured snippets. Well, what exactly is a featured snippet? Now, you shouldn't confuse this with a snippet that you might use in a plugin like Yoast, or even a rich snippet. So a snippet in Yoast is just a bit of a description of what your web page is about, and a rich snippet gives additional information, such as for a product, you might have a little bit of extra information about dimensions and things like this. No, a featured snippet is a little bit different. This is what you will find at the very top of the SERP, or the search page, where you put a query into Google. And it's something that Google goes into the post or the web page to find, and they want to give that as the answer to the query. Now, personally, I don't have a big beef with Google, not yet, but I do have to say that they are representing about 76% of all my organic traffic, whereas Bing, Yahoo and other search engines like that are only about 11%. So I do need to pay attention to what they're doing. So what exactly has happened with the featured snippet? Well, up until a couple of weeks ago, if you were able to win the featured snippet, then you would get position 0 right at the top of the page, which is a great thing, right? But you would also get a ranking perhaps from position 1 to 10 with the original page where the snippet was taken from. So that meant that you got 2 bites of the pie. However, now Google are changing things around. Instead of having 11 results on the page, there are only 10. So position 0 has now become position 1, and that's the featured snippet. And instead of being able to have 2 pages ranked, so including the featured snippet and the other page, ranked on the same page, on the same SERP I should say, now if you win the featured snippet, your page will be position 1 on the second page. And as we all know, if you want to hide a body, hide it on the second page of Google. So why exactly is Google doing this? Well, probably it's because they're a business and they're trying to make money. And the way that Google makes money is to keep people on Google. They don't actually want to send anyone to your blog or to your website. So they've changed things around and they are trying to keep the user on the SERP. So now when you look at a SERP, you'll notice that position 1 is normally a featured snippet, and then they put all the answers to the query above the video row and above the section where people also asked. So they're trying to keep the user there by giving them the answer. So what does that mean for us as the creator? Are featured snippets a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if you look at the figures, according to Backlinko, a position 1 post before this change would probably receive about 31% of the clicks. So you'd get a click-through rate of about 31%, whereas the featured snippet in the past would only get about 8%. So that's a bit of a problem, right? 31 compared to 8%, because that means traffic for us. If we're getting 20% less click-through rate, that's 20% less traffic, right? Well, maybe not. Things are changing, and if you look at a SERP nowadays, they're trying to sneak in the ads, they're trying to sell the products to the user, and as users, we know that we don't always want that. So perhaps organic searches will become more desirable, and having position 1, this featured snippet, is going to be as advantageous as having the old position 1, which was the first result of first organic result. So is it actually worth having the snippet? Would it be better to go for position 2 or position 3? Because we all know that when we see the featured snippet, traditionally we would go for the first result. But After listening to Jim and Ricky from Income School, they made a very, very good point on their podcast for the Project 24 members, and this is a course that I've signed up to, which is going to help you basically build an online income within 24 months. I can't recommend it enough. If you're interested in finding out more, check the link in the description. So Jim and Ricky were talking about this issue on their podcast, and they were basically saying, would you rather be in the snippet, or would you rather be position 2, 3, 4, whatever it might be? Well, basically, because Google are putting so much onto the SERP now with ads, with other ways to try and sort of distract the user or grab their attention, it is much better for you to be right at the top than at the bottom. So even though they've changed it, even though you're getting one fewer ranking on the SERP, it's within your interest to try and optimize for snippets. So how exactly should you optimize for a snippet? Well, remember, we're trying to be helpful and we're trying to answer queries. That's what we're doing here. We're building organic traffic and being the most helpful resource that we can. So your snippet should be the most concise answer to the question. Now, Jim and Ricky in Project 24, they go through this. It's all part of their post recipe, and they could do a much better job than I can. But also, you can find this information online if you search for it. But my tip is to make the snippet as concise as you can and as obvious to Google as you can. So what I tend to do is I will write my post, and at the top, because it should be at the top, I put snippet in bold. I write my post, I get all my ideas on paper, and then I go back and I write a summary. So the summary is the answer to the question. So you want to try and avoid any sort of caveats. You want it to be quite to the point. You don't want to be umming and ahhing, because Google is a machine. They want to see a definitive answer, really. And you've got to make it obvious that this is the answer to the query. So beyond that, I'm sure you can find other information, or if you're in Project 24, you already know what I'm talking about. But this is the basic thing. A nice summary to the query, to the answer you've given, and making it pretty obvious at the top of your post. The other thing to remember is if you're writing a post that is not an answer to a question, so the 10 best X for Y or whatever it might be, then make sure you optimize your headings, your H2 tags. Optimize them with keywords to do with the query that you're writing about, and that way they will be put in a snippet. So although featured snippets have changed and possibly will change again in the future, you've got to move with the times, and it's absolutely worth taking the time to optimize your post for featured snippets. I do it all the time, and with all of my pages that are ranking, I would say about half, if not more, have the featured snippet, because I do this all the time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you found this useful. Also give me a like, it really helps me out. And also, what are you doing at the moment to optimize your posts for featured snippets? Leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.